I realized that we were into something that was way beyond anything we had ever had to handle.
Unknown to Mayor Giuliani, these security actions are about to turn him into the public face of 9/11.
White House and Washington affairs. Claire, do we know where the president is at the moment?
Well, Peter, that's what we've been trying to figure out. I've been told by sources that Air Force One hasn't landed yet. There's very little information about how this government is running and from where it's being run.
We had just finished evacuating the building, made sure everybody was out. When I ran down the stairwell and opened up the door, there's Rudy Giuliani and about 20 people, men and women, and they were visibly upset.
We followed them along this underground hallway. We passed the exits that we couldn't get out, and they finally opened the door, and it opened. And you could hear like a sigh of relief. New York City is a lot stronger than this, and we're going to overcome it, and the people of New York City are going to give an example of how you stand up to terrorism. You just don't be afraid, that's all. The terrorists were trying to do two things. They were trying to kill a lot of people, and they were trying to destroy our spirit. And the firefighters and the police officers who stood their ground and didn't run away and lost their lives saved our spirit.
It's not that common to have a family member who exhibited an outstanding level of courage during a national emergency. September 11th, 2001 was a day that will live in great infamy. A series of cruel terrorist attacks on our American soil resulted in the deaths of over 3,000 American citizens. In New York City, where the President of the United States in hiding, New York's Mayor Rudolph Giuliani was presumed missing after the first of the World Trade Center's Twin Towers collapsed. A startling moment later, a miracle, as some will call it, Mayor Giuliani rose from the ashes with the help of 2 Local 94 HVAC engineers. Tonight on the Rider University Network, we have one of those courageous men, a man that I am very proud to call my father. Please welcome Christopher Marley. Chris, how are you?
Hi, Dan.
How's it going?
Good.
On September 11th, I know it's a little difficult to talk about. A lot of things have happened, a lot of things that no one really expected to occur. A day that even I myself found a little emotional. I know a decade has passed, but the horror, the drama of what happened probably still haunts you. How does it haunt you to this day?
Well, you know what? As time goes by, you don't really think about it as often as you did when it was more fresh in your memory. So as time goes by, it does kind of diminish a little bit, but there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. So in the beginning, yes, it was a little bit more horrific in my mind, but as time goes by, it is, not that I'll ever forget, obviously, but the pain does subside a little bit more as time goes by.
Okay. Now, from your perspective, you are a building engineer at 100 Church Street, close by Ground Zero, so you really had a very close encounter of what happened. From your perspective, what did you see that day? Like, what did you see, and what was going through your mind?
Oh boy. Well, after the first plane hit, not knowing what it was, obviously, we thought it was just a regular explosion. And then when we found out it was a plane, everything just went crazy. We were watching people jump out of the building. That was horrible. The smoke, the debris, the people screaming. It was just, it's almost unimaginable that, that something like this can happen. Like, you would never think it would ever happen, especially right around the corner from you. And it did, and it was horrifying. It was a horrifying day.
Okay. Now, what everyone wants to know is that you recently featured in Giuliani 9/11 on National Geographic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were known as one of the men who came across Giuliani in your building. He was in the basement of 100 Church Street with a bunch of other people, and they were stuck, and you helped them get out of the building to ensure the American citizens that he was all right. So how'd you come across Giuliani?
Well, it was funny. Not that it was funny, obviously, but it was unusual that after the first tower fell, my first reaction in my mind was, oh my God, we have to get out of here. But before I leave, I want to make sure that I have my wallet and my keys. I don't know why I thought that way. I just did. And our locker room is downstairs in the basement. So me and another friend of mine went downstairs, and as I was coming out through the basement door, Giuliani and Bernard Carrick, and maybe about 20 other people, women, men. They were standing right in front of me. So I was like a little shocked. I was like a little taken back. Like I couldn't believe that Giuliani was standing in front of me in the basement of my building. I had no clue that he was even in the area. But so that's how we came across him. And what we did at that point was, you know, the people were obviously scared, and Bernard Carrick especially was protecting the mayor at the time when he was the commissioner. And they were just yelling, "Get us out of here, get us out of here, get us out of here." They were obviously scared. And there was a lot of smoke down there. Lights were kind of dimming on and off because we didn't know if we were going to lose power or not right there. And so the decision that we made was to bring him up a stairwell. So we went up one stairwell, which didn't work out very well because it was blocked. There was a lot of dust and a lot of debris and a lot of smoke and everything. So we were kind of contemplating not to go through that particular door. So the decision we made was to go back down, which a lot of people didn't really want to do, but I made the decision to let's go back downstairs and we'll get them more towards the front of the building, which I thought would be a little clearer, you know, as a pathway to go out. And that's what we did. So we had to go back down to the basement with all these people, and they were, you know, very upset and everything. But, you know, they followed me, and I brought them over to another stairwell. We got them upstairs, had a little problem with the keys in the beginning, but, you know, the key finally worked. And we opened up the door, and I got everybody out safely into the lobby. And just before Mayor Giuliani left, he said he wanted to go back out to the street, which everybody thought he was crazy to do, but he wanted to do it anyway. So I just took my mask off, and I said, "Here, at least take a mask." I don't know why I did it. I just took it off, and I handed it to him. And he shook my hand. He thanked everybody. And that was pretty much it. And then, you know, they left. They walked away.
Interesting. Now, after Rudy Giuliani left your building, your next thought process was probably getting out of Manhattan, or am I correct?
Yes.
Now, what was your thought process? Like, what did you want to do to get home? Like, what was going through your mind
then?
Well,
you know what, at that point, after Giuliani and everybody got out of the building, there was so much panic out in the street, and so many people that were covered with soot and cement, and, you know, there was just, like, there was a police officer that actually came stumbling into our building. This is after Giuliani left, obviously, and we were all standing around trying to figure out our next move. There was a police officer that actually came in, and he was completely covered. He was all bloody. And when he came in, I grabbed him, and the poor guy fell on top of me. So we had like bottles of water and stuff like that. So, you know, while he was on top of me, I was just dousing water on his face and trying to clean out his eyes and everything. I didn't know if the guy was having a heart attack on me. I didn't know. He was just obviously very emotional and very confused about what was going on. And I think he was a little, he didn't really know what was going on. And I think he just collapsed at that point. Like, we got him into a safe area, out of the smoke and out of the debris. And he wound up, you know, falling on top of me, like I said. So we cleaned him up and everything, and then EMT people came into the building, and they took care of me after that. But for the rest of the day, we were just, the thought at that point wasn't even going home. It was just helping people. It was an automatic response. Like, I didn't even really think about it after that. It was just automatic. Grab a hose, grab some water, get people into safety, help them with whatever they need. You know, that was really our thought process. It wasn't really, at that point, going home anymore. It was, there's people in trouble, and let's try to help them.
Obviously, going back into the city, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, took a toll on you. Like, when you had to go back into the city after 9/11 and resume your daily responsibilities at your job, and just be down there where all the chaos happened, like, did it play an emotional toll on you then?
You know what, I think at some point we were just trying to get back to normalcy. It wasn't normal by any means. I mean, the whole, the few months after that was definitely not normal. But yeah, it was hard going back every day. It was hard, like, going back and seeing, the buildings down, and, people walking around still confused, still like shaken up. And for me, it was very emotional because, I'll never forget what I saw that day. especially people that would actually jumping out of the towers, not knowing whether it was safe to either stay in the building or jump. So, watching people jump out of the building was very emotional for me, especially. So that kind of like still plays in my mind even today. Like I said, there's not a day that goes by that I don't even think about stuff like that. But it gets a little better, but it's still on my mind. But yeah, going back every day afterwards was really tough. It takes a lot, and I'm still down there. I'm still in the same building. So, it never really goes away. As soon as I walk out of the building, I look over there and you're never going to forget. But yeah, emotionally, it's very, it's so surreal still even to this day.
Even though, like I said, it's a little weird to talk about it, but especially with this circumstance.
Yeah, right.
But it must have been pretty interesting to be heard through a national medium about what you did.
Yeah, it was a little weird seeing myself on television.
Yeah. So I know, like in the media, Giuliani previously in other documentaries, he referred to you as one of 2 building engineers or one of 2 angels whose names he did not know.
Right.
And recently, National Geographic came up to you and asked you to be on this documentary. So how did that happen? How did that come about?
These 2 girls showed up one day from England, actually, and they got in contact with my boss, who didn't know what I had done that day, because I guess he was kind of new to the building. He just didn't hear about it. And when he called me up to the office, there's these 2 girls, and they were asking me about that particular day, like what happened and my time frame and stuff. And I said, no. So I just kind of told them, like I was just telling you, like what happened that day. And they said they were doing this documentary on Giuliani, like from the time he woke up until the time he went to bed that particular day on 9/11. And they asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. And I said, sure. I mean, if it, sure. I didn't really argue the point. I said, yeah, sure, I'll be on TV.
Yeah, I know a lot of people in our hometown are very proud of you. I mean, it's me especially. It's very rare to say, my father was on television.
No.
For a random, I say random because you just walked in on him, and
right.
A random act of kindness and noble courage that a lot of people wouldn't exhibit, especially with all that going on.
Right.
And before we wrap it up, more of a silly question to lighten the mood a bit. Are you in contact with Giuliani by any chance?
No.
Like, do you talk to him?
No. I wish I was, but no.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
But overall, it must have been pretty neat to be part of the help process during the attack, as you being the man who helped Giuliani get back into the public eye physically, safely, so that way he can continue to control what was going downtown.
Right.
And for that, we say thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for being on Run 100 with us.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this special edition of Run 100 Interviews. With me is Christopher Marley. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Dan Marley. Have a good night.